Okay, hello everyone. So you may be wondering, alright, where was Andy today? Why did he only speak at New York City Transit only and not the Commuter Rail Committee for the MTA this month? Well, let's just get right into it. I am disgusted with the new schedules, and I don't even want to speak to the new Long Island Railroad president right now. That's how disgusted I am, folks. Because a lot of people on the Ronkonkoma branch are going to get screwed. Well, they've already been screwed now for the past couple of weeks. But it's only going to get worse beginning Monday, November 13th. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So that way, if you're on a phone or a tablet, I can make it easier. So we're going to do this on the fly right now. Let's censor this. Let's see, can we censor this? Yes, okay. And we're going to do another brief zoom in. That way it looks bolder so you can at least read this along with me. So, let's get into these changes. First up, let's just get the preferred treated branches of the Long Island Railroad out of the way first. Because we will talk about my Port Washington branch in just a bit. Because I can now say that I am the advocate for it since Mocha 18 moved to Port Jefferson recently. Now let's stick back to the topic at hand, shall we? Babylon branch changes. The 5:24 a.m. train from Watauga will originate in Babylon at 5:04 a.m., making local stops along the branch, and will run to Atlantic Terminal Brooklyn instead of Grand Central Madison. A new weekday train that will depart Penn Station at 2:38 p.m. will run express to Jamaica, and then will run express to Rockville Center, then making all local stops to Babylon. 7:24 p.m. train from Atlantic Terminal to Freeport will terminate at Jamaica. Transfer there to the 7:52 p.m. train towards Watauga, making the same stops. The 7:40 p.m. train from Grand Central to Babylon will no longer run. So now they're basically figuring that out, maybe based on low ridership. Now, let's get to the Port Washington branch. We're making several changes to morning rush hour service to provide more express trains from Nassau County to Penn Station. After these changes, all 5 westbound trains departing Port Washington between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. will run to Penn Station, and 4 of them will be express west of Great Neck beginning on Monday, November 13th. Let's get into the following. 6:47 a.m. train from Port Washington will leave at 6:42 a.m. and will no longer stop at Little Neck, Douglaston, or Bayside, and will run to Penn Station instead of Grand Central Madison, arriving at 7:22 a.m. Excuse me there for a sec. The 7:19 a.m. train from Port Washington will run nonstop from Great Neck to Penn Station, arriving at 7:54 a.m. So basically, this will be an express train that will not stop at Plain Dome and Manhasset, and then it will just go. So basically, this is a flyer from Great Neck. That's what I'm trying to say here. So again, this is what I know about the Port Washington branch. You know, Babylon branch and Port Washington line always get flyers. It's nothing new. 7:19 a.m. train from Port Washington will run nonstop from Great Neck to Penn Station, arriving at 7:54 a.m. 6:28 a.m. and 7:03 a.m. trains from Great Neck will add stops at Little Neck and Douglaston. 7:38 a.m. train from Little Neck will start in Great Neck and will run to Grand Central Madison instead of Penn Station. And last morning train here, 7:54 a.m. train from Port Washington to Penn Station will leave 1 minute earlier and will be stopping at Bayside at 8:09 a.m. Right, and the 2 evening trains, 7:11 p.m. train from Port Washington will run to Penn Station instead of Grand Central Madison, and the 8:44 p.m. train from Grand Central to Port Washington will run instead from Penn Station. Okay, just want to get this minor change out of the way during the late night. At this time, we know an 11:23 p.m. train from Ronkonkoma to Penn will no longer run. They will be instead putting an 11:50 p.m. train from Ronkonkoma that will run to Penn Station instead of Grand Central Madison. Okay, so now we're going to get into some of the drastic changes on the Ronkonkoma branch. And believe me, there have been a lot of unpleasant changes that were first discovered by Pine Power LI. First up, on the Ronkonkoma branch, the 5:30 a.m. train from Ronkonkoma will run to Atlantic Terminal instead of Grand Central. Westbound midday trains from Ronkonkoma that currently run to Penn Station will run to Grand Central and vice versa to provide more evenly spaced service west of Jamaica. And lastly, the 7:01 and 7:49 p.m. train from Grand Central to Ronkonkoma will no longer run. So they're telling everybody read the PDFs or use the train time app. So, with that out of the way, we need to get into the Ronkonkoma branch. And it's disgusting right now. That's all I'm going to say right now. Alright? So let's go over the current PDF right now. And I just want to mention that the railroad quietly did something on Monday, September 11th, and I brought this up to them last month, but it seems they went deaf on all ears. Okay, so let's get into the schedule, alright? Now, currently, as you see here, on this schedule, from Grand Central Madison, let's just start off with, let's just begin with 10:58 a.m. currently for an example. Alright? So, this is a train that normally runs express to Jamaica. Okay, not bad. Now, currently, according to the schedule that was supposed to begin on September 5th, read this carefully. Alright, I'm going to put my draw thing here. Let's see, can we do it? Yes, we can. Okay. So, for an example, this train is supposed to be stopping at... Oh my goodness, I am so sorry, folks. I will erase that in just a second here. Okay, now we're going to put some size and make it a lot bigger for you. So, as you see here, this train that is supposed to be leaving Grand Central Madison... Hang on, I'm just making sure I got this right. I have the right train? Yes, okay, I do apologize. Look at this. I'll make sure I have the right PDF. Just give me a second, folks.
A few moments later.
Okay, finally got everything organized. I do apologize, but that's why we have video editing for a reason. Okay, guys, I found the original schedule that I saved from the original PDF back on August 18th. Alright, so I found it. I knew I had it on my computer. I knew if I lost it, I had it backed up on my iPhone 4S, which I do with my schedules anyway. And thank goodness I still have this phone working. But I did find it on the computer, and I did not delete the schedules. That's good. So we're going to get into how the Ronkonkoma branch has been screwed over. Alright? So let's get into it. First things first. From my copy of the PDF that I saved, that I had to convert to JPEG, and then have a photo extension work on Chrome. Alright? That took a while to load this up. So that way my draw tool can work. So let's open up the draw tool that I have right here. And I do apologize. I'm going to have to zoom this out. Okay, here we go. This going to work? Okay, I know what to do. Okay, I know how to make this work. So what we're going to do to start this off is we're going to use this train for an example. So let's start off with this train. Ooh, okay. Well, that didn't end up the way I wanted it to. Guess we're going to have to lower the size. You have to bear with me here. So, this train right here. Get this right the second time. Well, the third time. There we go. Okay. You know what? I have a better idea. Let's make the size a little bit smaller. That's better. This train right here, the 1058, all right? Do it one more time. Yes, 1058 train right here. All right, so that's the best way we can do it. So this train right here was supposed to stop at Mineola originally at 11:33. All right there. Oops. Do it correctly one more time. There we go. Do apologize if my drawings are not the best, but you get the idea. So, look what they did in the current schedule. You may be wondering. What did they do? You may be wondering. Oh, well, the fact that right now, according to this, it's not stopping there anymore. Notice something missing? According to this new PDF that was published just this week? Yeah. Missing! So basically, it goes right to Hicksville. Right to Hicksville! And not just that, folks. What makes this thing even worse is the fact that the last train of the morning, all right, and let's confirm this right now. The last train of the morning that stops at Mineola from Grand Central Madison gets to Mineola right now. Now let's see if we have it right here. Let's see, 9:58. Yeah. Last train in the morning is at 8:34. 8:34 in the morning. Alright? And it gets 10 times worse at this time. Because look at this. Look at this. If you see the peak, alright, the next train doesn't run from Grand Central Madison to Mineola until 5:21 p.m. My bad, excuse me. That's a pen train. 5:28 p.m. There we go, found it. So I knew there was a train currently right now on the schedule. Right? And that is the train that leaves Grand Central at 4:54 p.m. But then look at this. It's still an hourly gap until you hit the 7 p.m. hour. So, they claimed, oh, Grand Central Madison was going to make things easier. No, it did not. And basically, if you're leaving from Grand Central Madison and you want to take the Ronkonkoma branch to Mineola, guess what? You have to take the Huntington branch. Yeah, I said Hempstead by accident, because we're going to get into the Hempstead branch too in this video. Because there's one thing that I need to talk about. Alright? So, let's get into the weekends. Currently, right now, there is enough service on the weekends at the Mineola station on the Ronkonkoma branch, right? Now, what does C mean? I'm trying to see what C means. I do apologize. I'm going to see what C means here. What does C even mean? I'm gonna read that. Let's see. C. Oh, okay. So that just basically leaves from platform C at Ronkonkoma. Okay. Just confirming that. All right. So the weekend right now, we don't have to get into my old copy from August 18th. We can just use this current copy that was sent out this week. So right now, Mineola gets a lot of service on the weekend on the Ronkonkoma branch. However, there is some bad news. beginning on Saturday, November 18th. Here it is right here. Here it is. See if I can pull it up. There it is. Look at this. I mean, right now, in terms of weekends, and I'm still going to keep my August 18th copy, and I'll probably keep this copy too. I'll title it today's date, October 23rd. So look at this. Right now on the weekends, Ronkonkoma branch to Mineola is getting half hourly. Beginning on November 18th. And circle the date down if you're a Mineola passenger. You need to say it the state correctly. Beginning on Saturday, November 18th, you folks in Mineola are going to get hourly service on the Ronkonkoma branch only to Penn Station. So we're going right back to where we started from before Grand Central Madison even opened. I mean, look at this. Look. Right? So let me put the draw tool back up. Let me use an example. Let's say you want to have a fun day in the city. You're going from Mineola during the holiday season. Let's just assume children leave with their parents at, make an assumption. Let's go with 10 o'clock in the morning. How about that on a Saturday? All right? So, look at this. This train right here, which would be the 9:55 a.m. departure. Let's go with that. From Ronkonkoma, right here. And this would be a train that goes to Grand Central Madison, right? So look at this. Goes to Hicksville. Oh, my bad. Let me erase that. Goes to Hicksville. But look at this. Skips Mineola. Oh, and then it gets worse. It gets 10 times worse than that. They're now making a bunch of these trains beginning at 10:09 a.m. on weekends. This will be Saturday and Sunday, for an example. Why is Elmont getting all this service on the weekend? It's just unbelievable, folks. And it's like this for a whole weekend. And let's see the current weekday schedule that they're proposing right now. Just want to see on a weekday, like, if you're going, let's say, eastbound from, let's see how bad it is on a weekday. Let's start with peak service. Okay, let me see here. Yep, one peak train not stopping at Mineola. Okay, good. So they're going to keep the 454 trip. So that's the good news. So as long as they keep the 454 trip, that's the main thing. But we're getting to a point where now in the future, this 454 trip from Grand Central to Mineola may not run in the future. Same with the 545 trip. Same with, let's see what other train I can use for an example. Yeah, I mean, there's less service pretty much. 6 p.m. hour? No, sorry, gotta go to Penn. So there you go. I mean, it's so antiquated. The way things are going right now with the Long Island Railroad, it's a disaster. It really, really is. And I'm so glad that I kept my original PDF copy from August 18th. Because now I've caught the railroad red-handed. Alright? I've caught the railroad red-handed, folks. You don't think I have? Believe me, I did. In this one particular video, I have. Alright? And mind you, that was on a Friday when that schedule came out. This schedule came out on a Sunday, when most people don't even think about looking at their PDFs. Now, let's get to the Hempstead branch. first things first, let's find out if the 2 trains that currently run from Hempstead to Atlantic Terminal are still running during the peak. Hope they didn't cut that. I hope they did not cut that. Because we had a problem with the Hempstead branch as usual, folks. Okay, let's see. Atlantic Terminal. Okay, good. So they're still keeping the 7:05 a.m. trip, which is good. And it looks like... okay, good. They're also keeping the 8:33 trip. So the 7:05 and the 8:33 trains are still going to be on the schedule. So that's good news. However, there is bad news. Still bad news. And of course, was never even up for discussion ever by the heads of the Long Island Railroad schedule people, whoever does this. So, look what we have here. Here is Atlantic Terminal. Notice something in Atlantic Terminal on the Hempstead branch? Yep. 4:59 p.m. You only get 1 train from after 4 o'clock. You missed this train in Atlantic Terminal. You missed this 1 train. Alright? Guess what? You're out of luck. So, this is what I would do if I was running the Long Island Railroad. Alright? What I would do to make everything a little bit better. I know this is going to sound a little bit controversial, but you need a train to run in the, I would say, 7 o'clock hour to be fair. So I would have 1 train on the Babylon. I'm sorry the people on the Babylon branch are not going to like this idea, but there needs to be a Babylon branch train that runs from Atlantic right now. It needs to be canceled. And you may be wondering what train I personally think needs to be canceled in the afternoon. What particular train would I cancel to antiquate this problem, you may be wondering? What train would I drastically change? Right now, I'm not really seeing anything. Yep. This is the train I would dramatically change. 6:12 p.m. I would dramatically do that, or find a way to add another train to the schedule that goes to Hempstead. Because this has been going on now since February, and, you know, it's only getting worse because this guy right here is not going to listen to us. Robert Free. Free will prioritize safety, reliability, and improve customer experience. Well, how are you going to improve the customer experience when you still only have 1 train on the Hempstead line that goes directly from Atlantic Terminal in the afternoon, Rob Free? Rob Free needs to figure this out. And believe me, that's why I did not want to talk about this today, because it would have been the same story on deaf ears. There's more serious things I needed to talk about with New York City Transit today. Alright? So, that's where I'm going to wrap up this part of the video. So, I'm done talking. You know what, folks? I'm so disgusted. And when Pine Power LI made me aware of this yesterday, I just couldn't handle it. I'm sorry. I'm just so upset with this railroad right now. I'm sure a lot of you folks might be as well. So I guess to conclude this video, we're going to play my comments from the New York City Transit Committee. So, thank you all very much for watching this video. And if they want to improve the customer experience, then I think a lot more passengers at Mineola need to start complaining. And you know what, folks? If you're in Mineola, I would really recommend complaining to your local elected officials. So, I would complain to the county executive. I know I'm crazy enough for complaining to Blakeman, But you gotta ring Blakeman's phone as much as you can if you live in Mineola and you feel that you feel the railroad's screwing you over like this, because it's not fair. Call your county legislator, call the mayor of Mineola, call your state assemblyman, call your state senator, all right? And I hate to say it, but even complain to George Santos, because this needs to be addressed. And especially because I really think the Long Island Railroad's still violating the Americans with Disabilities Act by not having these Grand Central Madison trains accommodate these passengers. You think these Huntington trains that are overcrowded right now, you think these people in Mineola want to have to deal with stopping at Merlon Avenue and, where else? New High Park? Yeah, they don't want to deal with that. They don't. Seriously, who thought it was a good idea to add all this extra service to UBS Arena? I want to know whose brilliant idea was this. Was it Rob Free? Was it Kathy Rinaldi before she left? Was it Jano Lemur? Or what if it was the governor? What if it was Kathy Hochul who made this decision? Because it might have been all the way in the top in the political system in Albany, for all we know. That's it. And without further ado, let's play the tape from my comments at New York City Transit earlier this morning. So thank you all very much for watching.
Epilogue.
Also, I should acknowledge something else that Pine Power LI did bring up in his video.
As you'll see, is half-hourly service at all the mainline stations like Carl Place and Maryland Avenue. Well, guess what, folks? If you live in Carl Place or you're Maryland Avenue, you're only going to have hourly service. And I think it's only going to go to, if I'm not mistaken, all right, you'll have hourly service to Penn, but you won't have any direct service to Grand Central at all. Because guess what? Now they're having the Huntington train skip Carl Place. Every other Huntington train is going to skip Carl Place and Maryland Avenue. That's right. They're doing that, too.
Wow, so let me see if this is correct. I have the schedule right in front of me. Oh no. Yep, guys. Pine Power LI's right. Look at this. It's only going to be every hour. This is Monday through Friday. Monday through Friday. Unbelievable. See, here it is right here. There's Merlon Avenue. I'm running my finger along it. Yeah. There it is. 10:15. 11:14. 12:15. Oh, no. Oh, no. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me right now. They published that in the committee book for the Long Island Railroad this month. So pretty much until 2 o'clock, that's when the half-hourly service resumes at the Merlon Avenue station. And it's the same thing for Kyle Place. 10:21, 11:20, 12:21. Yeah, here it is right here. 12:21. Oh boy. Guys, this is bad. This is bad. And that's not the only other thing that I found out about. Pine Power LI did message me privately about this. So apparently, also beginning on Monday, November 13th, and I also did bring this up to another close friend of mine who lives in Mineola. So, on the Central Branch beginning on Monday, November 13th, guess what? The 3:06 p.m. Montauk Branch train that runs along the Central Branch will not be stopping at Mineola. Yep, so I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't, because not only that, this train never stops in Hicksville anyway, but that's besides the point. So now, what this means is now there's only going to be one train along the Central Branch in the afternoon, which will be the, confirming it right now. Yeah, here we go. The 4:58 p.m. train So this is the only train in the whole day that's going to be running along the Central Branch that will be stopping at Mineola and at Hicksville. So I forgot to bring that up as well. I did want to acknowledge that. That should have also been brought up as well. So yeah, that's all I have to say again regarding the schedule. So let's play the New York City Transit video right now. Okay, so before we get into the New York City Transit clip, there is one other thing I couldn't mention because I was going over my allocated time. I should have also mentioned there was another issue with Queens Village Bus Depot, and I had this issue last Tuesday when I tried taking the 1:26 p.m. Q46 trip from Long Island Jewish. The bus exactly left at 1:25. And there's another issue where I had a female driver who was doing the 1:38 trip, and she, everybody's just trying to leave the Long Island Jewish terminal early. And the only thing I could think of would be the fact that the drivers are just too impatient waiting for the red light to make the right turn on Lakeville Road. And they want to get like a minute or two start early, which I think is unacceptable. I really think it is. So if this continues going into next month, then I am going to have to address it with them. But I will say, if you are a Q46 rider at Long Island Jewish, I highly would recommend to show up at the bus stop in front of the parking garage, the visitors one, probably about 5 minutes before your scheduled departure time. So get your PDFs, go on the MTA website, and download the Adobe app. So that's all I'm going to say right now. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here and cue the clip from New York City Transit.
The next speaker will be Andy Pollock.
Good morning, Andy Pollock for the record, Passengers United. So let's get right into the 7 train. What happened this morning was completely unacceptable. The fact that the work that was planned this weekend went well into this morning's commute was disastrous. I've heard from people on X this morning that the platforms at the Queensboro Plaza and the Jackson Heights Roosevelt Avenue stations were completely overwhelmed with confusion, chaos, and let's just say a lot of cuss words were said. So I'm telling you, from now on, whenever there is planned work, there needs to be a disclaimer that says, please note, work may linger into Monday morning. All right, so that needs to be addressed. Next issue is Queens Village Bus Depot. What is going on with the Q88? Why are the buses being bunched together on school trips? There's supposed to be a 10-minute gap in service. I see a bunch of Q46 buses and Q27 buses completely bunched together, especially when I commute from Long Island Jewish on Tuesdays. So this needs to change. And I also want to mention on October 9th, when I was coming back from Long Island, I was supposed to take the 3:09 p.m. Q88 trip. I was literally telling the driver, why doesn't College Point Bus Depot share this route? Because Q76 is shared with Queensville. So it's time that College Point Bus Depot steps it up and maybe handles the additional Q88 trips. Because I see way too many Q76 trips heading north on school days. So that's all I'm going to say for this month. Thank you for letting me speak today, Kate, and I hope to speak again next month.